Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Six Rings King Show on a new night, Monday night now, baby. We're really excited, actually, to have Eric McLean on the show here, college football analyst, co-host of The Huddle. Coach, yes! All right!
First touchdown of the year.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a six-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vish, and DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real important live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. You see the six-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards of hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the Six Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Yeah. Welcome back. What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Good. Can't complain.
Man, Coach Ponce in the intro. Whew.
I know. I was just going to say the same thing.
I might have to change that up, man. Oh, boy. That's funny. I just realized that. You're right.
Yeah, I was like, oof.
No, man, we got to leave it in there as, an obituary here to his starting tenure as our quarterbacks coach.
No kidding, man. Blue may be on with us a little bit later. He's got his radio show until 9 today, so maybe we'll see him a little bit later. But we've got our producer Vish today because he's really not going to be paying much attention to the show because there's too much Canes and Dallas Cowboys action. As you can see, he's wearing his Dallas Cowboys gear, not even Canes gear.
I mean, it's the last day I'm going to be able to wear this until next.
The last game of the season, apparently.
Yeah. So the Canes will keep playing this year, although not well. We're down 8 right now with about 10 to play, so that's not looking good either. But
and that's basketball, by the way.
Yeah, that's that.
I like this background.
You never
know. I feel like I'm like just relaxed watching a nature scene or something. I like.
Okay, so that is actually. I guess
happy Martin Luther King Day, everybody.
Wait a minute, okay, because I'm blocking the statue.
Well, sort of. Jazz and I are blocking the top of it.
Okay. No, I feel bad. I meant no ill will by that statement. I literally couldn't tell what it was, but now
it is a nice memorial. It's in near.
I went to go see it. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, so that's the stone, and then on the side
gotcha.
You can see that. You can actually see some of the quotes to the side of DJ there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can. So obviously, we wanted to kind of give a little bit of a happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day shout out, or just kind of talk a little bit about obviously the amazing person, the amazing man that he was, probably one of the most incredible human beings to ever grace this earth. So and of course, special day today for him, and so we memorialize him and we say happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Now, when I lived in Memphis, obviously they have the memorial there outside the hotel. And it's interesting because it's as it's about him, but it's eerie. It's kind of sad, but how do I say it in English? Impresionante at the same time. I don't know if that makes. I don't know how you say it. You can say impressive, but it's not impressive. Powerful. That's a good one. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, it's a very powerful feeling that you get. You get that. It's just. It's the aura, the vibe around that area.
Moving.
Yeah, it's moving. That's the one. Moving. That's the word. Yeah. Over there in Memphis, obviously. So it's it's incredible. So we definitely wanted to kind of commemorate today with a little something in the background there. And DJ obviously thought it was nature, and it is nature. It's beautiful.
It's nature.
It is,
that memorial, like I mentioned, the quotes, you obviously can't read them in the scale of this picture, but one of my favorite things to do here, I live in DC, is that memorial, and then next to is the FDR memorial, and
oh wow,
you can walk through, and FDR has a lot of his quotes too, kind of engraved as well. So you can kind of just go through and read all of them, and
it's fascinating to see. Incredibly detailed too.
Yeah, it's inspirational, and it also shows kind of we're not there yet as a country, living up to the ideals of 100 years ago for FDR, in FDR's case, almost, of some of the stuff we espouse. So there's always work to do. But yeah, today we kind of not just honor Martin Luther King Jr., but also what he stood for, and the best way to do that is to continue his work, because we're not always the best at that.
No, we're not. The human race is definitely not perfect and not very good at that a lot of times. But we will keep on trying, working hard at it. We've gotten a lot of news today on Miami Hurricanes football, and this week, I guess since last Monday, we've got a little more. Yes, Fresh. I know Fresh he's chomping at the bit. We need DTs. Frank Ponce is out. Yes, obviously the latest news, the breaking news per se today is that Coach Frank Ponce has decided to go back to Appalachian State, and there's a lot more to it than just him going back to the place where he was coaching. Okay, and we'll get into that now, but. Yeah, so he's back at Appalachian State as the offensive coordinator once again. First, I kind of want to get your take on that move by Coach Ponce at Appalachian State, and moving forward, what you think that means for the University of Miami, and because obviously a lot of people are talking about this is the first domino, okay, and a lot more is going to start to happen now. You might see some more staff changes, and of course, we're still working on the other side when it comes to the players and the transfer portal. Talk to me about that real quick, if you guys can. We'll start with Vish to see if he's paying attention.
Oh no, I'm locked in here. The Canes are doing me a favor by playing like complete culo, so like I'm not having to watch that as closely. But the good roughing the passer penalty though. But anyway, no, actually, Jazz, you mentioned there's a lot of stuff going into this. So I think, bottom line is this season did not go the way anyone planned. I mean, we actually mentioned he's in the intro. He's in the intro because we interviewed him. And you saw this optimism, and he was really excited, and it obviously didn't pan out. The other thing he mentioned at the time is he was down here by himself. His wife was still up in North Carolina. So, that probably also played a factor. It was not an easy move for his family at that point.
Right.
And with the way the situation's going on here, again, it didn't work out well. I don't think that's like an understatement. That might be an understatement. It's definitely not an overstatement. Like, it's a tough year, and not one that he anticipated going through. Really, anyone did. So when you couple that with the the opportunity to kind of just hit a reset button, I think he took that exit, especially considering that there might be other changes coming, and we're not. I don't know anything, so this is not like me saying I've heard things or anything, but if there is going to be a change at the coordinator position, most coordinators also coach the quarterbacks. So if that change is coming, which I know a lot of our fans want, again, I've been more neutral on it, I think, as we all know, but if that change comes, that's likely to be a OC/quarterbacks coach coming in. Gaddis is kind of an anomaly in that he coaches receivers instead of the quarterbacks. So that could also be at play. But also, I mean, let's be real. As much as our team and Gas gets a lot of the heat struggle this year, the quarterbacks really struggled as well. Maybe it just didn't. Sometimes stuff just doesn't work out, and he had a comfortable exit, I would say. So he took it.
Yeah, I think. Look, I think you mentioned it. It was an easy move. It's an easy move if you're Coach Ponce, right? You've got your family who's still by the way. So there you go, touchdown Dallas. There you go, buddy. It was an easy move for Coach Ponce, being number one that his wife is still in North Carolina. Okay, she's still in Boone, and by the way, she was a very popular news anchor down here in Miami for a long time. And I don't know how that happened. I don't know the whole backstory, but I know that obviously she moved up there to be with him, considering he had, so his tenure at Appalachian State started, I think, in 2013, where he was the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach up until 2018. I believe it was 2018. And then he became the offensive coordinator after that, the sole offensive coordinator for a year or two, and then came over to Miami as the quarterbacks coach. I think that's what it was. Did he miss? He missed the extra point. Of course he did.
Not even miss. Like, he looked like Ohio State's kicker trying to win a playoff game. He missed it that bad.
Oh man,
what the hell, man! It's the NFL.
Oh well.
Anyway,
anyway, so I think it was an easy move on his part. Right there off the bat. Second of all, you go back to a place where you're very familiar with everything, right? The coaching staff, the players. They probably were still running the same style offense. He developed quarterbacks there as well, Chase Bryce and some other guys. He was able to help them out. But to your point, Vish, real quick, and then I'll go to you, DJ. As far as the quarterbacks weren't that they didn't look great this year, right? I think that I'm going to put it this way. I'm not going to put it all on Coach Ponce because at the end of the day, there may be more to it, and I kind of don't want to speak on. I don't want to be speculative on it, but I think there was more to it that didn't allow Coach Ponce to maybe, be the quarterback's coach that he was supposed to be. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, what was Coach Ponce also the passing game coordinator as well?
Yeah.
So we obviously saw that we struggled there also, and that could be completely, completely different as well. I'm not saying one has to do with the other, but read between the lines, right?
Yeah, and I will just say, and then throw it over to DJ. It's not, there's always a lot. It's always a lot simpler than just this one coach is a problem or these series of coaches. Sure. There's always a bunch of stuff going on, and we have a lot of. In fact, this entire staff is coaches that have been successful in the position they're at other schools.
Right.
So, but you kind of put Frankenstein together over here, or Frankenstein's monster, I guess. Together over here, and some of it, the parts aren't going to fit. And I think, Ponce is an interesting one in that when we got him, we're like, that's an awesome get because I can't believe someone left an OC job to be the quarterback's coach. Maybe that wasn't even because the idea was this would be a stepping stone.
Right. And then maybe he gets the OC job after.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I mean, obviously that was the thinking he had going in. This job turned out to be a lot more difficult and a lot more, long term to get to the point where the OC is going to leave and open that position up where we'll want to promote in-house than he thought. But that was also a situation where it was not an obviously, upgrade to go from App State's OC to Miami's quarterback's coach. Right. That's one of those kind of gray areas where you're like, I mean, I guess maybe depends. But then we thought, he's Nicaraguan. He wants to be in Miami. Right. Is what we thought. But, his wife might not want to be, as you said. She's very well established in North Carolina. So this kind of makes sense for him personally, too. And given the way the year went, I can't. Yeah.
I think it's a good move for him. It's a good move for him. DJ, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a good move for him as well. Like you guys said, he gets to be closer to his family. And also, I mean, the quarterbacks really did struggle this year. I mean, we talked about, maybe the lack of receiver options or, whatever it is. Tyler Van Dyke did not look like the Tyler Van Dyke of last year. And Jake Garcia also struggled at times too. So, there were games that, Tyler Van Dyke had, for example, against North Carolina that was really, really good. And then there were other games where he really struggled. So there wasn't a lot of consistency. And, I think it seems crazy to say this in year 2, but this is a very crucial season for Miami. And I think, Miami needed to, upgrade at the position. And, it'll be interesting to see who they bring in. I think it makes sense for Coach Ponce on a personal level. And I also think it makes a little bit of sense for Miami because the results just weren't there. And, I think they really need to start, stringing together some wins next season, especially with the recruits they have coming in.
Well, you kind of mentioned something. Yeah, the results weren't there. And I think that, a lot of people are under the impression, well, this can only mean one thing, right? This can only mean that the next to go is the offensive coordinator as well. And while all signs are pointing to that trend, okay, he's still the offensive coordinator here. So, I don't want to say that, he's gone and this, and you're going to hear a lot of that. You're going to hear a lot of that until it happens. We won't speculate on whether he's leaving or not, or whether he's gone. However, what we can speculate on is what style of offense do you think? Well, two things, right? So What style of offense do you think is going to work here based off of our personnel already? Okay. And number two, well, just to kind of, and one A and one B on that number one is, what style of offense does Mario want to run? Okay. And then number two is, if you do bring in a new offensive coordinator, is Mario going to, I guess, quote unquote, allow him to bring in some of the guys that he likes to work with as well, right? And so does that put in jeopardy some of the other positions that are out there, like your tight ends coach, your running backs coach, your running backs coach, etc. What do you think they do moving forward now, DJ? As far as style of offense, and we'll get into names because I know everybody wants to get into names, and I get that, so I'm cool with that. But before we get into names, what style of offense do you see them running, and could this kind of mean that there's more changes to come, not only the offensive coordinator but other position coaches as well?
I could see them running a little bit more of a Big Ten type of offense. I know we've talked about it before, but if you look at some of the commitments and some of the players already on the roster, they have a very stable running back room in terms of names and things like that. They're looking to upgrade the offensive line, and we saw it at times last year, right, where you know Gaddis tried to get the offense going through the run game, and it just didn't work out. And then the passing game kind of stalled as a result. I think I talked about it on the last show. Complementary football is needed for a Big Ten type of offense. So I think with Mario and Coach Mirabal's background in developing offensive linemen, combined with the talent we have in our running back room, I think we're going to kind of transition to more of a, I guess, power run type of scheme. That's what would make sense to me, given what our running back room looks like right now, and what Gaddis is familiar with. Whether or not that will work here, I don't know, but I could definitely see it, becoming more of the Miami style.
Liz, what's your take on all that?
Yeah, I don't expect a big style change because I think this is the offense Mario wants to run. And also, I mean, we should point out that we're in a situation where we haven't been good for 20 years, and we had a brief blip of good offense on a bad team a few years ago, and our entire fan base has become obsessed with running that offense as if we were successful as a program. We were not. The coach got fired. Like what? So I think he's trying to figure out what offense is the best way to, frankly, eventually make the playoffs, win championships. And if you look at what Georgia and Michigan and TCU, Alabama, what they're running schematically, Ohio State actually is a little bit more open, but schematically, these are not very different from what we tried to run last year. They just have better players. Like
100%.
You call those Michigan like power run plays with our offensive line, they're not getting yardage either. Like it's not. And
100%.
so I think he skips with the scheme. Now that doesn't mean that Gaddis is a good play caller, good at developing game plans. The scheme is one thing, and then the overall offensive structure and execution is a whole different thing.
Right. Yep.
And that doesn't mean that Gaddis is like, oh yeah, this guy is coming in with a good game plan, knows what to call to attack the defense. It's kind of stringing the right plays together because play calling is art and science in one.
Yeah.
So he could move on from Gaddis without deciding we need to, go to a completely different offense. The Canes just took the lead, by the way. Nice.
What?
71-73,
Wow.
43 left.
43 seconds left?
3:43. It's going to be a tight one. It's going to be a tight one down to the stretch. Nice. There goes my ADD is going to go off the charts now. But so I don't think it's going to be. Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be a huge change in style. With that said, to your other question, if Gaddis goes, which we don't know anything about, so not speculating, but if he goes, anyone's position's up for grabs except for probably Mirabal, because the new coach, because one of the things I think we discounted a little bit as we looked at our all-star staff is you got to be able to work together. You got to have that working chemistry, and bringing an offensive coordinator and forcing him to work with other people's, tools and trying to like forge new relationships. And if he's got his own guys that like this guy knows I work well with this guy, that's likely going to shake someone loose at it could be any of these positions. So we know Mirabel's not going anywhere. Anyone else, my opinion, on the offensive staff, if a new OC comes in, I think, he's like, I got my own tight ends guy I'm comfortable working with. All right, the tight ends coach is gone, right? I mean, it's like that. So,
by the way, shout out, baby. Where is it? Yeah, buddy. That's what we got today for dinner.
They still haven't cut the check, and yet you keep promoting them. Like,
you got to keep going. You got to keep trying, man. You got to keep trying. Anthony, I think you just missed it, but we will get a little further into it. But who do you guys think we replace Frank with a quarterback's coach, and does it signify we might be switching out Josh as well? I love how he's just putting out like first names, Josh and Frank, because Josh and Frank were attached at the hip. No, see, so I think that's a misconception about Josh, Coach Gaddis and Coach Ponce being attached at the hip. There's no attachment there.
And I would say I feel like there's more change to come. But
oh yeah.
But I think Ponce going almost makes it likelier that Gaddis is still here, because someone's got to take the blame for that offense, right? And running it back entirely as is, I think is tough to say that nothing. You could easily, bring Gas back and say, look, he just didn't click with the quarterback's coach. We had chemistry issues in the staff, disseminate down onto the quarterback play. I'm not saying that's what happened, because I have no idea. But, if there is some kind of a power struggle or some kind of butting heads between the offense coordinator and the quarterback's coach, and the quarterback's coach goes, to me, that increases the likelihood that the OC stays. Now, it could be part of what I believe is probably more changes to come, but I would actually say, if everyone else stayed as is, you've got to be kidding me, Cowboys. Jesus.
Yeah. So
if everyone else stays as is, then it's kind of, that'd be kind of weird given the way the offense played. So I think some of the other deck chairs, so to speak, being rearranged makes some sense there.
Yeah, I don't think you see. I don't think one has to do with the other at all. I think that if anything, this increases. I'm on the opposite side, right? I think this increases the likelihood of Gaddis Gaddis leaving. However, here's my thing, right? So, just to answer your question a little bit, also, and Fish Fan Miami kind of mentions that I think that the ideal thing is to grab an offensive coordinator that coaches quarterbacks also, and then you go out and you get a wide receivers coach or whatever the case is there. I think that's the direction that they may head in to. Another possibility is exactly what you said, Vish, right? Like, maybe what you do is you tell Josh Gaddis, hey, focus on coaching the offense. Maybe he's not your wide receiver coach anymore now, right? Now you've got the option to maybe, because you are increasing the amount. I believe that I don't know if it passed yet or not, but it looks like it's going to, or maybe it did. I don't know. Maybe you guys can kind of talk about that, how they're going to increase the amount of coaches that could be on the field at one time. You can get some more guys on there. You could see something along the lines of Gaddis staying, being stripped of his wide receiver coaching duties, maybe hire a wide receiver coach and a guy that coaches the quarterbacks as well. Because obviously Gaddis doesn't coach the quarterbacks, but you can do that. That might be a different route that they go. I just feel like maybe that's just too many people in one room trying to run one offense.
Yeah, and I think the way we were constructed was like always going to lend itself to a bit of dysfunction when you've got offensive coordinator and a wide receiver coach, and then you have another guy doing quarterbacks,
right,
and passing game coordinator.
Yeah,
that's just mess. That was messy because there's just so much overlap, and you kind of want one person to run some of that.
Yep.
Real quick, a little bit of a pivot, sort of, but let's give a shout out to Anthony who became an uncle.
Congratulations, Anthony!
Hey man, congrats, brother. Good
That's
job,
awesome.
man. All right, way to become an uncle. Well, congratulations to your brother or sister, whoever it is that had the baby also. So shout out to them.
That's awesome.
So apparently that rule didn't pass.
Oh, it didn't pass. Okay, so Yeah, see, that's why, and again, it could get messy that way. Anyways, thanks, Arabian. I appreciate that. So yeah, does it and that kind of answers the question, Anthony? Does the college football coaching staff limit? Yes, it does limit on how many you can actually have on the field.
Yeah, and
recruiting so on.
that's actually, Michigan just got dinged with some penalties for violating that. All these, so there's a distinction between on-field coaches and assistants and like staff people,
analysts and all that.
yeah,
stuff,
all
right?
those analysts. So you can have unlimited analysts, which is why all these schools now have all these analysts. They're not allowed to actually coach the players on the field or really participate in game day on the field. So
they could also do what they did recently, which was have like Coach Ponce was sick, and they could bring in an extra guy that's an analyst or an off the field coach to recruit for him.
It's such a slippery.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
It's a gray area, and then Michigan violated it and got busted. But so yeah, that's why coaches have to have that's why in the NFL you'll have a million coaches, and they'll be like, he's third down linebackers coach. Like, what the hell? You have a position for that? Because they can have as many as they want. In college, they're limited. So you have guys like, hey, he's offensive coordinator, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. Because you just don't have a choice. Interception.
Wow.
And the Canes are up 5 with 1:30 left. Things are going my way, man.
Things are turning around, baby. Nice.
It's the Taco Bell. It's the Taco Bell. It's the good luck.
Vish, you got a fan there from Matthew Owen. Hi, Vish.
Hi. Yeah. All right.
Cool, man. All right.
I will say real quick on what did pass. Really cool for Jazz and I know no one else cares. 4th baseball coach is going to be a paid position now. So,
so there's going to apply. I'm going to
well, I mean, no, but this is like the ridiculous thing. Football has 400 analysts, and I think it's 10 allowable coaches, actual coach. Then as unlimited analysts in baseball, you can't pay for 4 coaches.
Right.
So
I agree. That is pretty crazy.
So like anytime they can throw, it's still not full scholarships. Like it's BS.
Yeah, I wish they would.
Yeah, and so they're slowly creeping towards some kind of normalcy, but at least they got
11.7 scholarships is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, and that's why baseball has, you got your manager, you got your pitching coach, you got your hitting coach. That is it. So now they're going to get a 4th coach that they can pay. Because what ends up happening is baseball uses volunteer coaches. It's like ridiculous. It's D1 big money programs, and they can't pay them.
So the only coaches that are being paid are Lopez, Arteaga, and Gino.
Yep.
Wow.
So they can pay a 4th coach.
Good, because they brought in another guy that's legit. He's a legit coach. I can't remember his name now. To coach first base. I don't think Norberto is going to coach first base anymore. I forgot his name now.
Right. I think they pulled him from USF or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Solid coach.
Yeah. Good job. Anyway.
And by the way, they're going to be good this year. Caden Martin, Blake Sir, Jason Torres, those guys that they brought in, plus the guys that are here and the transfers. I think they can be really good, man.
Top 10 in all the preseason polls. It's all about the postseason. So real quick on this. Apparently, Kingsbury effed off to Thailand, and so whether or not he specifically, it's definitely not going to be him.
Unless they plan on doing Zoom calls or something on game days or whatever, then I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. And with that salary, and after having to work with Kyler Murray last year, I wouldn't necessarily be in a hurry to coach again either.
Yeah, I will say.
Take my $5 million, go to Thailand.
What a career path. Gets fired at Texas Tech, gets to be an NFL head coach. It has F off to Thailand money. I mean, just
not a bad gig.
So speaking of that, right? Perfect segue. Who is, give me a name, a guy that you are interested in seeing coach this offense. I'm just watching this series of events here that are happening in the basketball game. Jesus. Who's the guy that you guys are thinking about on offense that could come in? What's one name, one coach that that Miami should look at? We'll start with you, Vish.
Yeah. So first of all, there was a name in the chat.
If you had to choose an offensive coordinator,
I'm a big no on this.
Okay.
On Kendall Briles, first of all,
which, by the way, he was apparently supposed to go to TCU. He's going to be hired as the offensive coordinator there. Apparently, that hasn't happened, or it hasn't been.
Maybe they ran a background check.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. In terms of offensive coordinator, one guy would look at. Oh God, the name I'm spacing. Who's the? I think his last name is Scott. The dude that that just got fired as USF's head coach that was Clemson's OC for all those years?
Um,
I'm gonna look that up.
Oh God,
Was it?
I think it's Jeff Scott. I want to say, but whatever.
Yeah, Jeff Scott. Jeff Scott.
Yeah.
He was at USF, right?
Yeah, he just got fired.
Jeff Scott.
I don't know if he wants to get back into like coordinating immediately, but I would snatch his ass up.
Oh, nice defense. Let's
There you
go.
go, no Chad.
Nice defense.
All right, we got to make the free throws. We're only shooting 1 and 1. Oh no, we're double bonus. All right, you got
that's an interesting name, Vish. I never even thought about that, but
because I'm thinking about like what Mario wants to do. What we know, he knows the ACC well. You know, he knows the defenses that we're going to be playing against. So I think he fits that. If you look at what Clemson, obviously Clemson had 2 all-world quarterbacks too. So, you know, Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence back-to-back kind of made him look good too. But, you know, if you look at the ability, like what we're looking to do there, he makes sense. There's a couple of other good. I don't know how realistic this would be. Just looking a couple of names out of the chat.
Well, it all depends on what happens with Ken Dorsey now, right? Because looks like a lot of head coaching positions are going to start looking for him. He's going to be a name. And does Joe Brady stay and become the offensive coordinator there? Do they look elsewhere? If not, yeah, it's a potential. It's potentially a name that Mario could look at. I just don't know. He's never called plays, okay, and I think that's people don't realize that. He was the guy at LSU to help Joe Burrow, and he was the co-offensive coordinator there, but he didn't call plays there. And he is a local kid too, so I mean that's kind of nice. But yeah, I don't know. As far as the other name, Arabian Night, that you put up there, Scott Frost. Here's my problem with Scott Frost. I think I like him as a coach. I think he could. I think as an offensive coordinator, he would kill it. Okay, as an offensive coordinator, he would kill it. And I want to get DJ's analysis on this too, because obviously you're familiar with him. But as an offensive coordinator, whew, the guy is awesome. The thing is that he might like the bottle a little more than he likes football at this point, and that might be a concern for Mario Cristobal, especially down here in Miami. Could just be, nothing. But okay, yeah, go ahead, Vish. DJ, what are your thoughts on Scott Frost? Because I'd like to hear about what you think. Him as a play caller, forget about his head coaching. I know he obviously wasn't great at that, but as a play caller, as we bring in Larry Bluestein here. What's up, Blue?
Hey, good seeing you guys again.
Hey, Blue, good to see you.
Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm fresh off my show, man. I just got off right and came right in.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you,
man.
We'll
all right,
we'll get your thoughts on this.
The Canes are up 2 with 3 seconds left. They're shooting a couple of free throws, so
all right,
fingers crossed.
Let's go,
okay.
And that's Beverly at the live show thing, right?
He's been coming on.
Yeah, he has. DJ, tell me, what are your thoughts on Scott Frost?
Good offensive play caller. I think you are pretty accurate in saying that he liked the bottle a little bit too much. I'll just say that he got a hefty buyout from Nebraska, and I would question whether or not he would have the, let's say, desire to coach again for the type of job that you want to get done. There's a reason why many Nebraska fans are happy to move on from Scott Frost.
And that's the ball game, by the way. Kings beat Syracuse. Let's go.
And Norchat ended by putting them on their backsides. I was like, just let him lay it up. It doesn't matter. And he's like, no layups in this house. All right.
Big tough loss the other night to NC State.
Yeah, so that's a big comeback. Big comeback. It's
big game.
Double digits in the second half.
Big win for the Kings basketball team.
At Duke Saturday.
Blue, I want to get your take. We got a couple, first on the Coach Ponce news that we just heard today. We've obviously had him on the show. He is a friend of yours as well. Friend of the shows, actually. I love Coach Ponce. I thought he was great. Talk to me about what you thought about the move. I love the move. I think it's good for him, right? I think it's the right. It's not a bad move for him to make. I think it's a good move. But talk to me a little bit about his tenure here at Miami. I think first and foremost, and then what this could potentially mean for the coaching staff. Obviously, we're hearing more dominoes may start to fall very, very soon. What this could mean for the coaching staff and how it would kind of round out now that Coach Ponce is headed back to App State.
Yeah, great move. In fact, we talked about it Saturday, and he said, "Don't say anything." And then all of a sudden, I see all this stuff. I said, "Okay, well, I didn't say anything. At least you could trust me with that secret." It's good for him because it gets him back, with his wife who's in North Carolina, and it's been a long distance relationship, and she's a news lady up there, and she does a great job, and she signed a contract. But it also gives him an opportunity for say-so, and he had no say-so here. And I think that bugged him more. Now that he's gone, I can say it, that bugged him more than anything. I mean, they brought him in, and I think, Coach Gaddis took his coordinator job to the hilt and wouldn't take any input. And I think that hurt Frank, because I think that Frank wanted, when he came down here, because he left a really good job at Appalachian State, to come down here, obviously to be home and to be with his friend Mario. But and I don't blame Mario for much, but I blame him for that, because he should have got in that early and said, "Listen, this is the way it's going to be." He's going to have to give some input to this thing, and you guys are going to have to discuss things, and he never did. And so for that, I'm happy that he's going, and and he'll be back someday. Let him get a couple of years of this under his belt, maybe get a smaller job somewhere else, at a, that's what I'm saying, but, I know everybody keeps hearing things, and everybody always has a contact, and everybody knows this or that, but so far they haven't made any decisions. And I think there's a telltale sign why maybe Frank moved on, because maybe there was a gut feeling that he had that maybe, that Dallas scored again.
Yeah.
But I think, because everybody says to me, "Oh, yeah, my friend of a friend of a friend." Yeah, I'm not so sure, because if they were going to make some major decisions, they would have made them already. I really think so. We're already in the middle of January. You're going to and the kids just came on campus, so, I know everybody wants,
So speaking of that, though, Blue, okay, perfect example. What does it tell you about, the offensive coordinator not being there to kind of, bring in his players that did he miss this kicker missed another
What
point
the
after?
F?
He just
Just
missed
start going for
another.
2.
I don't
This is
think they're going to miss
ridiculous.
it, but
Wow. What
but
does
you
that tell
never
you about
know.
him not
Geez, if you
being?
watch the last couple of games yesterday.
No kidding. What do you think about, him not being in there, him not being present around these new
Yeah,
players?
that's not a good look.
Yeah,
But it
exactly.
sends mixed messages, because
Huh.
you know what? Mario's going to have to make a move. He hasn't made
Yeah.
a move. Ponce made the move. He didn't
Right.
get rid of Frank, and
Right.
hasn't really made a move. So if he's going to make a move, it's got to be soon, like I said, because now, after the second signing day and into the first or second week, they start preparing for spring.
Yep.
So you want people in there that are going to be preparing for spring, right, Danny? If you're going to get things going for spring, you want guys in there for February and March to start, getting the playbook ready. If you're going to change your offense, or you're going to run a different scheme, you want everybody, because you're going to have everybody on the same page. That's the time you do it. So I think if it goes beyond the second National Signing Day, they're not making a move. It wouldn't even be wise to do it. If you're going to make a move, now is the time. You got the kids on board, and but like you said, it's got to be somebody who is going to make a difference, and that the kids are going to respect. And I know Coley right now is like on an island with Petrino going to Texas A&M.
Right.
It's I know I've heard that name because he's a quarterback coach too. But does he want a position? Is he ready for a position? He and Mario worked together with Frank at FIU, but this isn't FIU. It's a whole different deal. I've heard a bunch of names. You guys said Scott Frost. I think Scott takes this year off, and then next year comes back as a head coach at like one of those Iowa State type of jobs, or something like that. But I don't think he's, and like DJ said, he's getting pretty handsomely paid right now. Brady, just not convinced.
So give me a name, Blue. Give me a name. If they have
no,
to
I
make
mean,
a change.
I was listening to your, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
respond to what you guys were saying.
Oh yeah, yes.
I mean, I always say this: who is Mario Cristobal close with? He's got to be somebody that, I mean, Arroyo. I mean, I don't know.
That's the name that's been out there a lot lately,
well,
Blue.
because he's, but he didn't get it done at UNLV, and everybody's going to, I mean, everyone's going to be picking apart. Oh, well, he didn't do it there, and I don't know. You know what? No matter who we say, it's going to be somebody different. It always is. I mean, no matter who you pick, it's always going to be somebody different than you think.
Here's what I think.
Go
Blue,
ahead.
just to kind of piggyback off of what you said. I think, and of course, let's preface that by saying Mario doesn't give a crap about what I think or anybody else thinks,
No,
right?
he doesn't.
He doesn't. He's gonna do things. He dances to the beat of his own drum.
No
We
doubt.
get that.
No doubt.
However, this is what I think. I think that the motto, and I hate to use this, the motto that motto of that Mario's using right now. Well, I know this guy, he's a good friend of mine, or I know him really well, or I've coached with him in the past. I think that that's a good motto, but I also think that sometimes, man, throw all that crap out the window. Go get the guy that's going to fit this program. I don't care where he's from or what he did or I don't care any of that. He's a good coach. He can recruit. He can develop players. He has a good relationship with players. He's had some success at other stops. He's going to come in and he's going to make a difference on this team. And that's the bottom line. I think that he needs to, and I go to the New York Giants, right? And what Brian Daboll did over there this year, where he just got guys.
Jazz,
he just got guys that fit. He got guys that he wanted, not guys that he was homeboys with.
Jazz, right? So you asked us the question. So who's your name then that fits what you just went through?
I've been kind of back and forth in this on some of the names that I like. Honestly, I threw out a name yesterday in one of the shows that I don't know if it's legitimate or not, but he's right now he's just an offensive assistant, right? But he's got a lot of experience and a lot of success at the NFL level. Okay, and the guy that I like is Darrell Bevel. I think that kind of guy. I and this is just a name that I like, right? I don't think he's gonna come down. I don't know if he would come down to college and what his recruiting prowess is like. I don't know what happened to DJ there, but
he dropped off the face.
He dropped off.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
But why not a guy like Darrell Bevel? Why not a guy like Mike LaFleur, who recently parted ways with the Jets? I mean, those guys run really, really good offenses, and if we've seen the success that Bevel had in Seattle. And at some other stops, he actually had some good success. I don't know if offense was the problem in Detroit when he was there. To be quite honest with you, there's a lot more problems in Detroit. But why not? Why not a guy like Darrell Bevel? That's the kind of name that I threw out there.
That's an interesting. Trying to find guys with NFL
kind of outside the box.
Which I mean, obviously it's Alabama, so they've got elite talent, but they're doing that, right? Bill O'Brien is a guy that spent a lot of time calling plays as a head coach in the NFL. So yeah, Darrell Bevel's won Super Bowls. I just wonder, if there's. So you mentioned the whole part about like not having to get his guys. That I agree with. The challenge is, whoever comes in here has to want to work with him. And the reason coaches tend to get their guys, or those are guys that want to come work with them. And that's actually how Ponce ended up here in the first place. Like, I don't think he would have taken a step down from an OC to a quarterback's coach if he didn't have the pot. And as Blue said, the relationship didn't work out the way and the power structure didn't work out the way he thought. But that's the reason you're able to get App State's OC to come be the quarterback's coach, is because Mario knows the guy. And so that's often the deciding factor in pulling people in. So how but then again, like, where did Gaddis come from? I don't think there was any connection. So, it can be either or. It's It's
No,
tough.
I think Gaddis and him have some connection from Alabama. I think they were.
Yeah, but very tangential. You wouldn't like if before Gaddis was named offensive coordinator, you would have never thought, oh yeah, he's a Gaddis is a Mario guy. Like you wouldn't even mention it.
Right.
Like he might have crossed paths with Bevel in the Pacific Northwest. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, our boy's back. He can tell us what happened.
I completely froze. You guys were talking, but no movement was happening on the stream. So there we go.
That's right.
So no, that's not what we're saying. And in fact,
I'm saying the opposite, right?
Yeah, no, he's saying though, is that what Mario wants? And I would say no. In fact, if you look at Blues talking about kind of how the structure worked offensively last year, it was Gaddis is the coordinator. That's his offense. You guys all deal with him. He almost kind of let Gaddis run the show on his own, which maybe was problematic based on the results. But the reason you bring in, I can tell you this as someone who kind of runs an organization, the reason you bring in people you're comfortable with is you got to work with them day in, day out under high stress.
Yep.
And someone that knows how you work, that you're comfortable with, if you give, because I have people that work for me that are like this, where I give them like a convoluted half-assed request and they do it correctly because they know what I'm asking. When if I gave it to someone else, they'd be like, what the F is this? Doesn't make any sense. Right. And so you get that once you have that rapport and that comfort level, it makes your life a lot easier. It makes everything run more smoothly. And that's why coaches fall back because they're in high stress. Think about this, right? The play clock's ticking down.
Right.
Everyone, you're trying to get players subbed, and you're trying to get all this stuff going. Communication among the coaching staff is so important. And it's always easier if you're like, I know that person. I've worked with them. I'm comfortable with them. They know what I'm looking for. That you can't put a price on that. Doesn't mean that's necessarily the right answer. Sometimes it's often the wrong answer because you can't see their worths when you're that friendly with them. But that's why they lean on that. It's not to get a yes man. It's to have that pre-built, comfortable relationship going in so you can focus on the difficult job of trying to get our offensive line to block correctly and get first downs and touchdowns and all of that. And you're not also dealing with communication issues.
Right. Arabian Knight says, aside from Ponce, Field, and Alex, no, Joe Salavea, obviously, is another one who's had a connection to Mario. Coach Gaddis, I know we just mentioned it, with his time in Alabama. They worked together there. I'm not sure about Kevin Smith, if they worked together in the past or not. But he may have recruited him. I don't know. I don't know about Coach Kevin Smith, so that's one that I don't know about. Blue, and let me kind of go to you on this as far as like the NFL is concerned. Obviously, there's a lot of coaches that are either getting fired, moving around, or got knocked out of the playoffs, and now there's opportunities there. Anthony mentions Joe Lombardi from San Diego. If Staley gets fired there, then obviously the whole coaching staff is probably gone. I just don't know. Here's my only thing is with the NFL guys is, do they want to be college coaches, right? Maybe they want to stay in the NFL and coach the NFL. The college and the NFL are completely different. But can you see Mario going that route and maybe going with an NFL guy?
Could be. I mean,
and this is all speculation again. Coach Gaddis is still the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
We're just kind of speculating on what could happen or what we would like to see if there was a change made.
Well, it goes back to what the Vish says. You got to be comfortable with the relationships you're going to have. And, he's going to spend a lot of time with them. And he's going to, it's going to be somebody that's going to, because remember, when they have offensive, defensive coordinator and head coach meetings, you got to be somewhere on the same page. You got to be comfortable with the person. And, if you have and Mario seems like the guy who has learned enough in all of his stops to cut stuff off, before it gets to be a problem. So, I'm sure but I'm not so sure that he didn't let something fester with Gaddis and Frank, because I've seen a trillion football programs, and there's never been a separation between your quarterback coach and your head and your offensive coordinator. I've never heard of that before. Those are the guys that get together, go out and have a few, cold ones and talk about, different schemes. And, hey, what, if we use Tyler this way, or if we use this, there's got to be, so I think that what's got to happen is anybody that jumps into that role It's got to be, and that's why I brought up Coley, because he's a dual guy. He's a quarterback guy and an offensive guy. So, but I know he probably, you never know. I don't know enough about, what's going on in a lot of these people's lives that they would jump. But like you said, I haven't heard anything from anybody that I talk to that believes a change is going to be made.
Right.
I know that everybody thinks it is, but to me, I question that. Why would have Frank jumped away from a Power 5 program? Think about it, with a future, and he was, he got the quarterback he wanted in Emory Williams. He's got the quarterbacks returning to the point where none of them are leaving. I told you this a while. Frank wanted this JC kid that reminded him of Aaron Rodgers. Couldn't bring him in. No one was leaving. Jake didn't say, hey, coach, I'm gone. Don't let the door hit you in the butt. But he never said it. So,
it's crazy to me, right? It's crazy.
It is crazy. So does that? So to me, they had to like Frank and what he's doing to help develop the kids, because think about it. It's sort of like you look at the Dolphins and they got a third string quarterback, a second string running back, and all this. And that's hard for an offensive coordinator to have to switch gears every single darn week. And that's what has happened with Frank. Every time that, he has a quarterback that he's running at number one for that week, he gets hurt and has to go to another guy and run a wildcat. And so to me, there's a lot to be said for that. But I just think that Mario Cristobal, if he's going to make a move, it had to be yesterday. I know that people, well, let's let these guys move in and, let's get through the February 1st thing and let's get through some portal guys. And I wouldn't do that. That's just, I think if they're going to make a move, make it now. I mean, because you've got to start getting ready for spring. I mean, it's important. Look how many faces you brought in the other day, and it's going to come at the end of the month. Those guys are all going to participate in spring, and they're going to be a nucleus of what you're going to trot out in 2023, I think. So why wouldn't you have everything in place?
I'd be interested. I'd be interested to see, Blue, how many of the new guys on offense got playbooks already, and if they did, right? Would that be?
Yeah, but that's a good point you make, because if they do, it's the same playbooks that they've been running with.
Right. If they do, you're gonna switch it on them now. I mean, that's gonna be crazy, right? I mean, it's happened before. I'm not saying it hasn't happened before, but
and I know, hey, Jazz, and I know that all these guys and and Geo and all these guys want to be the insider and say I heard from a friend, and that's fine, but do it rationally. Think of what you're saying. Think of the source you're going against, because to me, I thought that if a change would be made, it would have been this week.
Yeah, it's only
Monday. Really did, because
it's only
everybody's
Monday,
in.
It's only
everybody's
Monday.
in. And you made a great point. These dudes that came in got playbooks.
I think it happens this week if it's going to happen.
And this is actually, Jazz, this is kind of what we were talking about last week in the context of Coley, where I was saying, if you want to make a move, just do it. Like, you don't need to wait for someone else to get fired or to shake loose.
Yeah, but that's not the way Mario works. That's why
right. But my issue is there's now diminishing returns on making those moves. There is a need. It's one thing to do what he did last year, which is to have the position open and say we're methodically finding the best person for the job, and then having that person be the Broyles Award winner and saying, look, this is what the process got me. It's a whole other thing to think you're moving on from your current coach and not doing it. That is indecisive to the point of really damaging at this point.
Well, I think maybe there's the other thought process that Mario comes from that school, that Saban school of thought, where you don't really fire a guy, you let him kind of walk, he's maybe doing his own thing.
A great thing, though.
I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying that this is what he could be doing, right? And he may be taking a risk, and it could completely backfire on him. And I'm just saying this is the other thought process, right? Hey, you're interviewing, I'm going to let you find a job before I go, and get someone else, or go and make a move or do something different. Maybe he is interviewing at other places. I'm just throwing out there, all these different ideas and things that people are saying out there that have this insider information, quote unquote. So I think that if it's going to happen, Blue, DJ, Vish, all of you, I think that if it's going to happen, it's going to happen this week. And you'll start hearing the dominoes fall now. By the way, not only on offense, but there could be some surprise information coming out on defense as well. So as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some changes made on that side as well. So we'll see. Let's finish off real quick with a couple of things regarding transfer portal news and recruiting news. Blue, I think you have some knowledge of this kid, so I'm gonna hit you with this first. Came in as a preferred walk-on, was a pretty good player when he was playing over at Duke. This is linebacker Rocky Shelton, who's a former he's a former St. Thomas kid. You've got a little bit of knowledge on Shelton. Talk to me a little bit about what he can. He is a preferred walk-on, but he was a serviceable guy over at Duke. Big, strong linebacker that could provide some depth. Talk to me a little bit about Rocky Shelton.
Smart kid. He's going to go for his master's degree. He got a undergraduate degree from Duke, which is going to open a few doors. Physical player, smart kid. Was a playmaker at St. Thomas. A guy that's going to be able to get on the field and show some leadership. And I think the best thing about it, it's going to be great for the younger kids. The Aguirres and all these guys you got coming in to play the position, because he's already shown that he could balance both the classroom and football and do them very well and he has respect. And yeah, I think he's a great addition to the team. I mean, Miami offered him coming out of at St. Thomas at one point, but he opted to go to Duke, for obviously good reasons, academic wise, and got a chance to be a role player. And is he going to be an every down linebacker? No, but he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to. He reminds me like in some sort of form like a Udonis Haslem. I mean, he's going to be a guy who's been around. Is he going to be a starter? And no, because he's not that type of guy. But he's going to be an asset to the team, and he's going to be great to have there. And I mean, it's sort of like a Restrepo, because Restrepo is a guy that leads by example. Everybody looks at a Restrepo and says, Jesus, this kid's worked his butt off since he was 8 years old. Right. And he's going to be graduating this year, and he'll have 2 years of eligibility back. The kid will have a PhD before he walks out of Miami, which isn't terrible, So those type of guys are what Miami's striving for. They're looking for those kids that, not only that run a 4.35 but they need leadership. They need on the field. They had none this year. I mean, who was a leader? Nobody. Yeah. And, and that's what I'm saying. At least when you had the last couple of years with Rambo and then what's his name is with the Vikings, the receiver.
Osborne.
Yeah. At least you had guys who were 22 years old, on the verge of being 23 years old that have been around and not only are they role models on the field, but, if they see one of these 18-year-old freshmen going astray, they can grab them by the collar and say, hey,
Right.
And then that's what they need. Every program needs it, Look at Oregon. They had a 36-year-old kid that's coming to Miami now.
Right. So
I was about to say we definitely
perfect segue. Cam McCormick, another guy, he's like his 7th or 8th year. Obviously has some injury issues.
He's going in. So just to be clear, he's going into his 8th year, but he has 2 years.
And he has 2 years
left. So he's gonna go.
Unbelievable.
No, he got. I was looking into it. He got recruited to Oregon and played and was there for a year.
By Mario, by the way.
No,
it was by the
before. Mark Helfrich.
Mario.
That's what I'm saying. Mark Helfrich. Brought him in. He's a Helfrich guy. He enrolled in 2016 March.
Amazing. He makes Stetson Bennett look like a kid.
Yeah, so he was Helfrich, then Taggart, then Mario.
Who's older, him or Lou Henley?
Yeah.
But that's a guy that's kind of like that, right? Like Rocky, he's going to come in.
Yeah,
with the experience. Here's the good thing.
Yeah, but the kid's got his AARP card already.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with him that I think people don't realize, right? And I know that a lot of people are going to say when he's healthy. He was actually healthy all year last year. Wow, did Dallas score another touchdown? Blue, Vish?
Hey,
Yes, they
must
did.
have.
Yes.
I'm a little delayed. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dalton Schultz.
All right. Wait,
has a
here
touchdown.
comes the big one.
Yeah. Are they
I
going to
mean,
go
should
for
we
it?
just go for 2? I mean, what?
Oh my God. Unbelievable. He is one hell of a blocker. So I think he's going to come in and he's going to be a lot more than just that guy, a locker room guy. I think he's going to come in and he's going to contribute right away as a hell of a blocker. And he might teach these tight ends a thing or two about blocking. So I like this move. I really do like it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a wasted scholarship or a wasted opportunity. I think this is a good pickup by Miami also.
Yeah.
He missed it again.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he shanked it the other direction now. He's completely got the
Gary Jones has got that look in his
eye.
eye.
Oh my God.
It was unbelievable. These kicks aren't even close, too. Like he's completely he's completely lost it. He's completely lost it. He's been a good kicker all year, too.
He just went full Rick Ankiel or Chuck Knobloch.
Yeah, no, he's lost it.
Oh my God, Steve Sachs.
We're gonna have to get man. If we can hold on to this game, we gotta.
Ray Finkel, right, from Ace Ventura.
Hold on to this game. You can shoot. Tampa Bay's not good.
Are you familiar with the Cowboys in the playoffs the last 30 years?
Well,
true. Yeah.
Something goes wrong, but geez.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
I'm sure the Chargers said the same thing too.
What a game that was, huh?
Yeah,
man.
Oh man,
that was
crazy. Not only that, you see, I think the highlight of it at 3:00 in the morning. What's his name walking into the Waffle
House? Yeah,
that was the best.
Oh yeah,
imagine being there, having a drunken stupor and eating a couple of waffles, and all of a sudden your quarterback comes in.
Wow,
that must have been the experience of a lifetime for those people.
Oh man, yeah, and he paid for everybody's food, which is pretty neat.
Yeah,
good for him. Last but not least, and then we'll get into our sponsor, Jaheim Singletary. A kid that entered the transfer portal obviously has, a local. Is he a local kid? No, he's not a local.
No, he's
kid.
Jacksonville.
He's from Jacksonville. That's right.
In fact, he was my number 1 player 3 years ago in the state.
And he was, I think, Miami was a finalist for him.
Yes, he was.
Before he chose Georgia. So now there's an opportunity for him to come down and potentially be a part of this class. I know a lot of people are tying him to Miami being a really, really strong possibility that he comes down here and
didn't Adaya recruit him at the beginning?
Adaya did recruit him at Georgia as well, so that's a tie right there. And I think with a lot of uncertainty, with Cormani McClain still out there, right, not knowing exactly what's happening with that, I think that a lot of people, which by the way, Colorado just picked up another transfer portal cornerback, so there's some writing on the wall. I
mean, neat when they're in with Boise State and UNLV and San Diego State in 2 years. So
yeah, that whole Colorado thing is just it's ridiculous.
It's a gimmick.
It really is. It really is. So I think really it's look, he's still committed to Miami. Okay, I know I'm going off on Cormani McClain. He's still committed to Miami. Until I hear otherwise, he's a Miami Hurricane. There's a lot more to it than just what's going on, and I don't want to get into it because it's not my place to talk about. But there's a lot more that's going on there. Still possibility that he signs with Miami. So, but Jaheim Singletary, he could be. I mean, he would kind of wipe the whole Cormani thing.
Not even close.
Thing out of. Yeah.
The two did, and you know how I feel about.
I do
about him. So I mean, they're two different players.
Yeah.
I mean, Singletary's he's at a different level, whole different level.
That would be nice. Let's see what happens. Let's talk about Prize Picks real quick before we get our parting shots here by everybody. But PrizePicks.com, real simple, real easy, guys. Just go to PrizePicks.com. When you sign up and use the code 5 FIVE, we will Prize Picks, not we. I keep saying we. I don't have this money. This is Prize Picks that has the money. They are going to match your.
You'd have more if you didn't eat so much Taco Bell, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Taco Bell.
At least get them to comp you, man.
I'm looking for. We got to tag Taco Bell again in our rewatch tweet. So PrizePicks.com, log in, sign up. Use code word 5 FIVE. We will match your initial deposit. They will match your initial deposit up to $100. It's very simple. It's very easy. It all depends on how much you want to win. Is how many players you pick. You pick 2 to 5 players and you choose the over-under on their individual categories, right? Individual stats. So the over-under on how many passing yards, so on, touchdowns, yards rushing, so on and so forth. And by the way, you don't only have to play the NFL. You can mix and match. So you can mix and match with college football, Major League Baseball, the NHL. You can do so many different things. F1, Formula One is coming to Prize Picks too. So be on the lookout for that. So you can do all of that. Choose 2 to 5 players, pick the over-under on their individual categories, and win some money. Go to prizepicks.com, sign up, use the code 5, F-I-V-E, and they'll match your initial deposit up to $100. Prizepicks.com. Check them out. Before we go, I mean, a lot of people are, the defensive tackle. There's a lot of players that Miami is still going after, guys. So what I would do is, at the end of the day, Miami got their 2 best players last year from the transfer portal in April. Let this play out because there's going to be a lot that's going to happen between now and even after spring football comes around. But you're probably going to start hearing some names this week, and you'll hear some names throughout all of spring as well. So patience is not something that Miami Hurricanes fans have, but it's all we got. It's all we can do, and it's all we can.
It's going to be a process. We have another signing day coming. They are managing scholarships, so someone that they expect to come doesn't show up. You might go in the portal for someone,
and they've got space. Numbers are not an issue.
Vice versa, though, too. But you still want to manage your depth at positions, right? So you don't want to take 57 defensive tackles and no one else or whatever, right? So they have an idea of who they think is going to sign in January, and if it doesn't happen, or if they show another spot. Jazz mentioned April. Someone gets injured in spring. Is that for the year? You need to go in the portal to get someone for this season. There's time for all of this. There's no reason to. It's a year-round sport now. It's no longer, you kind of turn off in January and come back in August. So just everyone's got to power through it and be patient. Things will continue to happen. Rosters will continue to turn over, and that's kind of the way the sport is now.
That's about it. Arabian Night DVD. I think DVD is gonna have some say on what he's gonna do here next year, so I wouldn't worry about too much about him either. Thanks everybody for joining us on the show. We truly appreciate it. Again, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and of course we will have a new show for you next Monday, same time, same bat channel, 8:30 p.m. 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you check us out here. Follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube, and smash the like button. We truly appreciate the love from all you Canes degenerate fans and anybody else that's on here. Once again, see you guys later, and of course, as always, go Canes.
Yep.
The 6 Ring Cane Show. Yeah. The 6 Ring Cane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Cane Show. You know.